Hello, my lovelies. Are we live? Are we live on the tubes? It looks like we are. Hey, welcome back, everyone. We are reconvening today for the press conference in the arrest of Barry Morphew. And someone brought it to my attention that his name is Barry Lee Morphew. If any of you followed the Chris Watts case, you will know the reason for bringing attention to the middle name Lee. So we are waiting for this presser to begin. And I wanted to take a moment and I wanted to read this quick article because I wanted to go back. Hold on, let me take a drink. I wanted to go back to Barry's own words. So I found an article, and this is from People. And this is Barry speaking about the investigation and what the police and the investigators were trying to do. So it starts out, he says, people don't know the truth. So they're going to think what they're going to think. And this was in his first interview since his wife disappeared. And if you recall, he said that she went for a bike ride on Mother's Day. He was in Denver working. And she went for a bike ride and never came home. So here's another quote from Barry. This is the most devastating thing that has ever happened to me. But I've got to keep my faith and trust in God. And Suzanne trusted the Lord. And if one person got saved from this, she would think it was worth it. And we are just a godly, loving, caring family. And this is just a tragedy. So this was a year ago, May 10th. Suzanne's bike and a personal item, which I put up quotes because we don't know what that was. We don't know what personal item they recovered during that search. But little else is known about what they found, what they've been looking into, and the whole thing. So here's Barry again on this in this interview. He says, quote, "The sheriff's department screwed this whole thing up from the beginning, and now they are trying to cover it up and blame it on me. My buddy was right there after they found her bike, and he said that they completely destroyed the evidence, and he tried to stop them, but they wouldn't listen to him and said, 'This is not CSI.' He continued, 'There's no evidence for the investigators to see because the sheriff's department completely obliterated it.'" So it sounds to me he was kind of in maybe a CYA mode, or is he being set up? I don't know. How many in here think that Barry Morphew could be being set up? That there's pressure to solve the case and he is the only person that they can find to pin this on? If you think that, put a 1 in chat. If you think that Barry Morphew is where he needs to be right now and face trial for these charges, put a 2. Just curious. Because he's claimed, that they're going to pin this on him. He claimed this a long time ago. He said this August 24th, 2020. August 24th, 2020. He says that he's not sure what happened to Suzanne, but he theorized maybe she'd been attacked by an animal, involved in an accident with someone driving on the road, or crossed paths with someone who knew her. Not seeing any ones. Until Tuesday, Morphew had been silent in his wife's disappearance, except for a video to the Facebook page Find Suzanne Morphew. And that was on May 17th. He spoke directly to Suzanne, telling her, "Suzanne, if anyone is out there that can hear this, that has you, please, we'll do whatever it takes to bring you back. We love you. We miss you. Your girls need you." So this was obviously written back in August. So at that time, the sheriff had said that investigators are not ruling out foul play. and that the FBI and the CBI were now aiding in the search. So the FBI and CBI got involved back in August of 2020. So Barry had said that he chose to stay silent after seeing all the negative coverage of him in the news. So he says, quote, "I'm afraid of what is out there. People don't know the truth, so they're going to think what they're going to think. My wife and I have been in love since 1988, and she's the love of my life. And I continue to search for her every day, and I will until I find her. I promise, and I promised my girls that." And that is the end of that article. But I just kind of wanted to recap and get back inside Barry Morphew's brain where he was when, you know, all of this investigation was going on, and just kind of go back to his own words before we watch this press conference. And I don't know if they're going to reveal what they have in evidence. Usually the first press conference is just like a, hey, yeah, he's been arrested. These are the charges. And more than likely, we're going to be like waiting with bated breath for any kind of evidence or any hint to what brought these first-degree murder charges against him. But unfortunately, a lot of times they're like, it's still an ongoing investigation. Like, it might not be. I mean, they've had a year. So it'll be interesting to find out if there's going to be more information given today. So if you guys are just joining, welcome to J is for Justice. Today we're covering the arrest of Barry Morphew. Totally unexpected. And if you didn't see the video I put out a couple hours ago when he was arrested, you might want to go back and watch that. There is a fellow creator who has contacted me and had some pretty cool footage that he took out in Salida. I'm not sure which one it is. I guess it depends on where you're from. Something is definitely there. I mean, not only for an arrest, but to charge him to talk about first-degree murder charges right away. So it's first-degree murder and tampering with evidence. So, yeah, thank you guys all for being here. We're just kind of hanging out now, and we're waiting for this press conference to begin. It looks like we have about 5 minutes to go. And I'm glad to see you guys all here. I'm hoping that the audio, there's no problems. We should be able to hear everything loud and clear. Lauren Elizabeth, now I understand why the new DA, the DDA in Chaffee County didn't say much about Suzanne's case late last week. It's a long I, Salida. Okay. Salida. It's like Florida. Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, I would imagine. Okay, so yeah, that's one thing. Michelle Grant, thank you for bringing that up. First-degree murder in Colorado is premeditated murder. So that must mean they have evidence that Barry Morphew premeditated the murder of Suzanne Morphew. I just can't even believe I'm saying this out loud. Like, I was wondering if, you know, there was ever going to be an arrest in this case, you know, whether it was Barry or not Barry. Hey, welcome, BT. They say finally, yeah. Remember in the Gannon case, they announced charges, and that was shortly before they found the body, says Alexis Lee. Yes, they certainly did. Okay, I guess we are live. Oh, thank you, Auntie Cheryl. Here we go.
A press conference underway over in Salida down in Chaffee County following the arrest of Barry Morphew in connection to his wife's disappearance, Suzanne Morphew. I believe that's Susan Medina with the Colorado Bureau of Investigation. She's kind of going over the rules of the press conference. Let's listen in.
Why? So what's going to happen today is first we're going to silence our cell phones. Thank you. I know. The sheriff will come out. He will make remarks about today's development in the case. The DA will then provide comments, and then both of them will use this opportunity to field questions. We've got a lot of people here, and I know there are many questions. I'd ask that you not shout those questions out. If you could just be respectful, raise your hands, and we'll get called on as many people as we can. Then once the presser is done, the sheriff will send out a news release recapping everything that was updated today. Okay? So I'm going to go in, round everybody up, and then we'll be right back out. Thank you.
And again, thank you folks for tuning into Fox 31 Now. I'm Alex Rose. We're moments away from a press conference regarding the arrest of Barry Morphew in connection to the disappearance of his wife, Suzanne Morphew. Suzanne has been missing for.
Okay, so she was just giving a brief little synopsis of how this press conference is going to go. And it looks like they're going to be taking some questions. So I wanted to let everybody know here that we do have boots on the ground. We have boots on the ground at this press conference right now as we speak. And our boots on the ground is none other than Dan the Man. Dan the Man is at the press conference, and he is going to be joining me live after this press conference is said and done. He's going to be joining us here, and you guys can ask him questions and whatnot. So stay tuned after the presser for that. We'll be talking to Dan. Dan is in Salida, and he's been doing some pretty good coverage of the area. He did some reenactments, things like that. Hello, Audra. Hello, Alyssa. Good to see you guys. It's not on yet, y'all. It's not on yet. We are waiting for it to begin. We are waiting. So if you're just joining, we're waiting for this press conference to start. It should be starting here in just a few minutes. The spokesperson came out and told us how this press conference was going to go. Hi, Cheryl. Hi, Mary. Hey, Bridget Survey 319. Hey, Shell. So pretty much, we're just waiting. So if you guys, I'm going to put on this old coverage so you guys can watch it while we wait.
With him to try and help.
It's horrible. It's like nothing good's going to come out of this. The best I can hope for is closure. Yeah, I hate to say that, but I think there's little hope that she's alive at this point.
Morphew, a wife and mother of two, was last seen riding her bike along this road. Her husband Barry said he was out of town when she went missing. These volunteers will cover a massive amount of territory that includes mine shafts and
And we certainly appreciate the sentiment for that report. It looks like the sheriff is about to take the podium and address the media. Let's go ahead and listen in.
Up. Yeah.
Here we go.
I'm Chaffee County Sheriff John Speasy. We're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to read you a prepared statement, and then we'll introduce our district attorney and take questions after. Good afternoon. I wanted to thank you for traveling to Chaffee County on such short notice for today's briefing. Before we begin, I just wanted to speak briefly about Suzanne. I have to admit I did not know Suzanne personally before the beginning of the investigation, but now I feel I've gotten to know Suzanne quite well. I have learned that Suzanne loved her two daughters, Mallory and Macy, deeply, and there was nothing she wouldn't do for them. I've also learned that Suzanne had a passion for life and lived it to its fullest. I've also learned that Suzanne was very easy to like and was cherished by her closest friends. I believe people like Suzanne are a rare find, and those who knew her were indeed very lucky. Today marks a major milestone in this investigation of Suzanne Morphew's disappearance. We're announcing that at 09:15 hours this morning, the Chaffee County Sheriff's Office arrested Suzanne Morphew's husband, Barry Morphew. He was taken into custody near his home in Poncha Springs. He was alone at the time of his arrest, and he was arrested without incident. Today marks the culmination of thousands of hours in this comprehensive investigative effort to locate the mother of two who went missing May 10th of 2020. More than 70 investigators from the Chaffee County Sheriff's Office, the Colorado Bureau of Investigation, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, and dozens of other local law enforcement agencies have provided their expertise on this case. We've executed more than 135 search warrants across Colorado. We've interviewed more than 400 individuals in multiple states. Our team has also investigated more than 1,400 tips generated from within and outside of law enforcement. In early April, the extensive work completed by our investigative team was presented to the 11th Judicial District Attorney's Office. In that multiple-hour presentation, we outlined all of the information and evidence we have taken in over the past 12 months. Following that meeting, the District Attorney's Office reviewed our case and information and solidified their decision to move forward on this case. Today is not the day for celebration, nor does it mark the end of this investigation. Rather, it's the next step in this very difficult yet very important journey as we seek justice for Suzanne and her family. I know how deeply this case has impacted our community over the past 12 months. Through multiple conversations I've had with our citizens across the county, one message was clear from everyone, and that's that they wanted answers and they wanted justice for Suzanne. Although I'm not able to offer specific details, I want to assure the community that every action our investigators took in the past year led to today's arrest. This arrest would not be possible without the assistance of our supporting law enforcement agencies, which include the Colorado Bureau of Investigation, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, and of course the 11th Judicial District Attorney, Linda Stanley, and members of her office. Before District Attorney Linda Stanley speaks, I want to extend my deep appreciation to our community for their support they've shown us for over the past year. While this has been a trying time for our citizens, I've seen our community rally around one another and our investigative team. I'd now like to introduce District Attorney Linda Stanley.
My name is Linda Stanley. I'm the District Attorney for the 11th Judicial District, which includes Fremont County, Custer, and Chaffee counties total. I wanted to say that thanks for being here for everybody, and there's a couple of things I'd like to address about this case. First, the investigation is still ongoing. Suzanne, her body has not been found, and we're still looking into that. The investigation is ongoing. Second, Barry Morphew is presumed innocent until proven guilty. That's important to remember. Third, the arrest affidavit is sealed at this time. I cannot and will not discuss it. Fourth, all media inquiries from this date forward should go through my office. However, I'm sure you all are aware and know that we cannot talk about any open or active investigation, and that is per the rules of professional conduct that we will abide by. Lastly, I wanted to say that today is a good day. It's a good day for all of the men and women in law enforcement that have tirelessly worked toward getting here. They worked day in and day out, sacrificing more than any of you will ever know. They even continued working and continued their sacrifices as they were being raked over the coals and second-guessed as to their skills and abilities. I'm standing here in front of you on this good day because they never quit. Sheriff Speasy and his deputies at the Chaffee County Sheriff's Office, Alex Walker, investigator for the 11th Judicial District, those two individuals and Sheriff Speasy's office in particular are consummate professionals and, quite frankly, some of the best I've ever worked with in my entire professional career. They followed every lead, every tip, and every unanswered question, no matter what direction it led them in. They never compromised the integrity of the investigation. On several occasions over the last few months after I was sworn in on January 12th of this year, I met with these professionals and went through hours and hours of their meticulous investigation. Their investigation was presented to our office just a few weeks ago. For me, today is a good day, but for my office, this is where the work begins. There's more work to be done. However, this is an important and incredibly crucial step. And today is a good day for Suzanne. As far as I'm concerned, today is all about Suzanne. And it's about her family. And it's about all the individuals that knew her and loved her and cared about her. That's what this day is about. And it's a good day. Thank you.
All right, we'll go ahead and take some questions now.
Can you tell us?
Right down the way.
Thank you. Can I please, the district attorney, if you don't mind, you're not releasing the affidavit, you don't have a body. How can you prove to the members of the public that you have a strong case?
For those that didn't hear the question, he said, we're not releasing the affidavit and we don't have a body, so how can I convince the public that we have a strong case? That's my job. I'm the one that considers how strong my case is before I bring charges, and I wouldn't bring charges unless I was confident.
Suzanne has been missing for nearly a year now. What made you take this step today as opposed to any time in the past year?
Who's that directed to?
Either one.
Would you repeat the question, please? Kinda?
Yeah. If I can have you stand in front of the microphone just to make sure that you pick it up. Suzanne has been missing for nearly a year. What made you take this step today as opposed to any time in the past year?
It's been a culmination of our investigation over the past year. Honestly, it kind of oversimplifies. Today is just any other day. It's been our investigation over the past year that got us where we are today, and based on other information we gathered, we acted on it. I mean, today became the day, but it's been a culmination of everything we've gained over the past year. And I know for everybody here, you say, well, that's hard to understand that because we haven't said so much about the investigation. That's what's so important about this investigation that got us here today, is the amount of everything that's gone into this and what's brought us here, and the ability to remain silent and do the very best we can to put the best case forward. All of that led us to where we are today.
Go ahead.
This can also be for the sheriff. You made this arrest today, and you've been searching for Suzanne Morphew for a year. Is there any indication today that she is not alive anymore as your search continues?
And repeat the question if you could.
The question is if we'd been searching for her and we hadn't found her, and if there's any indication that she wasn't alive today. Is that correct? Well, we believe that she's not alive. We've filed first-degree murder charges, or we're in the process of filing first-degree murder charges. So our belief is Suzanne is not alive at this time.
Sheriff Spacey, talk about how when you pressed charges today, when in your investigation did you know that she was no longer alive, and when did you change to, it was no longer a missing persons case that you were dealing with, it was now a homicide?
You know, that's actually a really good question. I'm sorry. It's a good question in that it's not, the light bulb moment doesn't happen overnight. It's when you begin an investigation, you start collecting information, you gain more information, and as you go along, you continually assess what you're doing, and as time goes by, you start eliminating certain things and start bringing in other things, and as you progress, you go from one point to another and you make realizations, and so your investigation is always, it never ends till it's over.
Know what you've been charged with.
said first degree murder. Anything else? Except for
Jan, you're Jan, right?
Yeah.
That was in the early press release we put out. Did it not have the charge?
I don't think it came out in the original.
Okay.
Chance, could you read all the charges?
I don't have them with me. Do you have them? Where's Alex? Yeah.
The question was asking what the charges were. It was first-degree homicide. It was tampering with evidence and attempting to influence a public servant.
Go ahead, Rachel.
Sure. Is Mr. Morphew being held here at the facility now?
The question is if Mr. Morphew is in our detention facility. Barry Morphew is in the Chaffey County Detention Facility.
And then what are the next steps? When will he make a first appearance, etc.? Or do we not know?
Question was, what is the next step and when is his first appearance? Tomorrow at 10:30 in the morning will be his advisement, where any arguments on his bond will be heard.
Can you give an
And sorry about that, folks. Obviously, we're having a little bit of technical difficulties here. I'll be sure to bring up the feed once it gets back. This press conference is happening in Salida, not the best area for reception. So I certainly apologize for you folks watching here at Fox 31 Now. It looks like we did just get that back online.
There's nothing I can share at this time because it's still an open and ongoing investigation, so we're not able to share any of that information.
We'll go right back here.
Sheriff, do you expect to make any other arrests in connection with this case?
Repeat the question, please.
Do we expect to make any more arrests in this case? No, we don't expect that at this time, no.
We'll go right here.
Is there an alleged cause of death?
An alleged cause of death.
The question is there an alleged cause of death? So at this time, without the body, we wouldn't be able to say that publicly. We do have information that led us to this point today and how we think a certain scenario had occurred. But as we investigate further, that may change. So at this time, I can't comment.
All right, we're going to take two more questions. Let's get to, go ahead.
This is for either the sheriff or the district attorney. Has Barry Morphew have you been able to interview him since he was arrested, and has he been cooperating with the investigation? And have you asked him where the body is?
The question was if the suspect, Mr. Morphew, had answered any of our questions or told us where Suzanne Morphew's body is. And after Mr. Morphew was arrested this morning, he was taken into custody, and when asked questions, he said he wanted a lawyer, so all questioning ended.
Last question. Go ahead.
Mr. Morphew retained counsel at this point?
Yes, he has retained counsel.
Okay. I think we're going to go ahead and.
We haven't heard from him in a year. We have a couple more questions. He's done one press conference. It's full time.
And I get that.
It's been a year.
Yeah, and we've got a news release that's coming out, and there's going to be more. So thank you so much. News release will be coming out in just a few minutes. We appreciate your patience and your time for traveling here today. Thank you so much.
Did you already put a mugshot out too?
That'll come out with that.
Okay.
All right, thank you folks again for tuning into Fox 31 Now. I'm Alex Rose. There you have it, the first major press conference in a long time in this investigation that we are certainly following closely here.
Okay, so there you have the press conference. Let's discuss. Bond is going to be discussed in the morning. That will be discussed in the morning at the hearing. I think she said 10. Was it 10 or 10:30? So it sounds like Barry lawyered up immediately after his arrest. Don't know if he saw it coming or not. They said that they arrested him near his home. Not sure exactly what that means. But regardless, yeah, we'll be finding out tomorrow all this stuff. 10:30 tomorrow Mountain Time, which will be 12:30 Eastern. 12:30 noon Eastern. We will find out, like Mo said, who the lawyer is. And I'm sure Barry will appear. Probably with a mask on. Florida just lifted. No face coverings needed in Florida anymore. But at any rate, as far as bond goes, do you guys really think that he will be given a bond on a first degree murder? So what I wanted to kind of talk about was what first degree murder in Colorado exactly is defined as. And it says, under Colorado law, first degree murder is defined as the deliberate and premeditated killing of another human being with malice aforethought. It differs from second degree murder, which requires extreme indifference to human life generally, rather than the intent to take the life of a particular person. So they must have some kind of evidence that Barry Morphew premeditated this killing. Could be computer evidence, could be phone evidence. They did a lot of searches, it sounds like. They conducted a lot of searches. Yes. So Kobe's, exactly. He planned it. You guys are here. I'm waiting for my guest to give me a call. He's at the press conference right now, so I imagine he's getting some interviews and talking to some media. So we'll give him a few minutes. And if he doesn't call, we'll try calling him. 400 interviews. Yes. Did she mention, now I may have not heard this, but did she mention something about another charge other than murder one and the tampering with evidence? I agree, Jimmy Rhino. Yeah, I don't think they're gonna give him any bond. Any famous Colorado defense lawyers? Good question, Mo. He's probably already had one, so that's what I would think. I would think he's had a lawyer probably this whole time. Wouldn't you guys think? I just can't see this guy waiting until he's arrested to get a lawyer. Oh, they did say he bribed a public official. Wow. Yes, exactly, Alexis Lee. Damn. Well, he just sold one house for, I think, 1.4 million, was it? Now, Freudian Slippers. I like your name, by the way. I feel like you're somebody I know. Freudian Slippers. It just sounds like something someone I know would make. I like your name. If he has a girlfriend, she or her family or friend could have squealed. Now, wasn't there a suspected girlfriend, someone who worked for him? Was it ever? I don't know. I don't want to start any rumors, but was it ever said one way or the other if that was his girlfriend? Was there any proof that it wasn't? Was there any proof that it was? Because I don't know, but I just remember they're saying that he could have had a mistress way back when. You're in the true crime and drama community. Okay, so I've seen your name then. Welcome. Thanks for being here, and I like your name. Wooly says Barry lawyered up right away after she went missing, which is why he didn't participate in searches. The silence thing from attorney. She denied ever. Lisa discovers, thank you. She denied ever being his girlfriend publicly. So we don't really know if Barry had a side piece. We're not sure. It's never been disproven or proven. She claimed that she worked for him but not dated. Tube Crime uploaded all his awesome anti-Barry videos again. That's awesome. Yeah, Morgan, that was her name. That's right. Becky Boo says, didn't he talk to a pastor privately? Could that be a public servant? I'm not sure. That's a good question, though. Jason says, Barry is a chicken shit. I heard a random rumor he had a girlfriend in a different state, but that's from Reddit, so take it with a grain of salt. Right. Lisa Discover says that she went on camera with Lauren Scharf, I think, and actually reported hearing his truck that Mother's Day morning, early in the a.m. Who did? Attempting to influence a public servant also means he could have tried to influence by deceit, meaning he could have just lied, not necessarily bribed. That is a very good point. Thank you, Heather J. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Oh, Morgan did. Morgan went on with Lauren Scharf. Okay, I didn't know that. That is a very interesting point. But lying to cops isn't a crime. But I think if he was lying, wouldn't that be like impeding an investigation? Or obstruction of justice? Ken Dalton. Hi, Ken. Oh, it's so good to see you guys. MC, I think Barry tried to bribe him. Remember, his alibi included his firefighter friend. That could be. Could very well be. Yeah, that worker said that he was told to go there to do this job, and then there was no tools there for him to do the job. Is it common for the arrest affidavit to be sealed? If they're not done investigating, I think so. It doesn't sound like they're wrapping everything up just yet. Unless I misunderstood her, but I was liking the DA. I like her from what I saw. She is all about Suzanne, and I like that. Elizabeth says Morgan, which is the girl that was accused of being Barry's mistress, and she has denied that, just for the record. Morgan said that she heard his truck in front of her house at 4 a.m. and Barry told police he didn't leave the house till 5. I wonder if they could pick up his GPS on his phone or something. Oh, there's a Freudian slip and a Freudian slippers. Oh my gosh. You guys are battling out over the Freudian slippers and slip name. I can't. Could have been a court official. So it said public official or public servant. Which was it? And I don't know if there's actually a difference in definition. So if you guys know that, let me know. Because I don't know. Public servant and public official, is it the same thing? Tomato, tomato. Lisa discovers Barry accused Morgan and the other worker guy to be crackheads. Yes, I remember that. He totally dumbed him down. He totally made that guy look like an idiot. And that made me mad because I really feel like that guy was telling the truth. And, you know, he had a southern accent and all that, but Barry took that and like totally played on it and made that guy look like a moron. Hey, we just happen to have 2 Freudian slippers and slips in here. You guys are both welcome. Gretchen says, whoever wins the battle, I'll gift you a toaster strudel. Yeah, one of you guys needs to copyright that, because people take their copyrights very seriously in the YouTube world. Even when it's not legit, they take it seriously. Well, I like the Freudian slippers name. I think that's cool. Weekend loving gypsy. Okay, the conference is over. I take it. I just had police officers come again. My son was served. He's probably too close for the 100-yard, but he told him, do not get any closer. What? I'm confused. He tried to use the workers as an alibi, knowing yes, he could undermine them. Yes. Yes. He picked someone that he could make look dumb and then discredit him for his criminal history. Because I think this guy had been in prison before, and Barry's like, he's a convicted felon. He doesn't tell the truth. It was really, really, really obvious that Barry was trying to cover his tracks and using that guy. Hey, Tiny Dancer, welcome. Welcome to the fam. Same thing, Culkin says. If the public pays them, they are officials and servants. I think they forget that they're public servants sometimes. Some public officials do. Morgan moved away. She was afraid. That's sad. I can't imagine being in the middle of a freaking case like this, to find yourself in the middle of a case like this, and your name on Facebook and people trying to find out who you are and calling you and doing whatever. I just can't imagine. I'd probably run and hide too. What's up, Cuda Brown? Look at my greenies in here. I love my greenies, don't you know? When they released the mug, did a reporter ask about the mug? If it was going to be released? All right, I'm going to text my guy right now. Are you busy? I don't know if they said. Oh, I know, Amy. It's awesome. I love the screen names. I love how Freudian Slip and Freudian Slippers were all getting like snarky with one another. I can't wait for his interrogation, and I hope we get to see it all. Oh, me too, Ken Dalton. Chris Watts 2.0 coming up. I think Barry was trying to be smarter than Chris Watts. But, there's just no perfect crime. And all of you guys were talking about the Bobcat earlier, I found that interesting because, there's always some truth in lies. And, we have to wait and wait for a trial to see all the evidence. But, obviously the DA has some evidence enough to bring these charges forward. So we're going to assume that they do have that. But, yeah, it's just... Yeah. I know I'm excited to hear the special calling guest too, but he wants me to call him right now. Okay. Hold on, you guys. All right. So before I ring him, I sound like I'm Australian. Before I ring him, I'm going to tell you who he is. His name is Danny. And Danny was at the press conference today, and Danny lives out there, and he has been in Salida. So we're going to call Danny right now, and we're going to ask him some questions. So everybody give Danny a nice warm welcome and chat when he comes on. Hey, is this Dan the man?
This is Daniel. Yes, he is.
Daniel, it's J is for Justice, and you are live on J is for Justice right now.
Hey, I'm glad to be here with you guys.
Hey, we're glad to have you. Thanks a lot for your footage that you sent over. Crazy, crazy stuff.
Thank you. Well, right now I am at the Chaffee County. I am staring at this sign. I'm in the parking lot, and it's a good feeling to stare at this sign right here, Chaffee County Detention Facility. That piece
Yes.
of shit, Barry, is in this building, and that makes me feel good right now.
Yes. Yes.
You are all about justice, and justice is underway right now.
I agree. I agree. So you were there, you were live for the press conference, right?
Yes.
All right. So what was it like there? How many reporters were there? What was the vibe going on?
The vibe was very somber, actually. You know, it was a smaller crowd than I thought. There were reporters there. It was very tight-lipped. You know, again, as the case is, there has been arrest. There's still a lot of work to do, and they have not found a body. So
Yeah.
they're being very tight-lipped right now. This is kind of a bittersweet day for the district attorney's office, and they have more work to do, but I feel they have, and one of the questions was regarding this, did they feel, you know, to do what they did today? And that was a resounding yes. There was a turning point in the investigation that led them to where we are today. They're confident. However, they're not telling us what it is, but they are assured she was murdered, and they were assured of, they have a strong theory as to how he murdered her, and that is what led them to go forward today.
Interesting. Interesting. Do you have a theory on what you think happened?
You know, there's been respect to a lot of different theories, and including me, and I have my own, and everybody has a little different theory, and I think that's good, been good for the case. It's still up in the air, isn't it, right now? We do think that he likes to bury things.
Mm-hmm.
He's good with the Bobcat. He's good with cement.
Yeah.
He doesn't have any coolers at his house where they suspected that he owned coolers, but there were no coolers in the house. So it's kind of adding up. That evening when he went over to that house on Vanderbeer Drive and County Road 102, I believe it is, he was over there at 11:30 that evening. I believe it was on Saturday evening, and he was running equipment at 11:30.
Dang. 11:30 at night?
A lot to do with it. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so I want to talk to you. I showed everybody your footage earlier and told everyone to go over to your channel and subscribe. So you're gonna have to check out and see how many people subscribed to you today. But your videos, man, your reenactments were interesting. And I had a couple questions from some viewers that saw that. So when you did the bike reenactment, do you think that it would make a difference with someone being on that bike to make it go down further in that gully?
No, not at all, really. If you fell over in a lateral way, you know, sideways over, you know, you're going to land there. Now, the top of that hill is not as steep as the latter part. So that, you know, it's hard to see that when you look down, you think it's straight down or something. It's not. That hill kind of, and I slid down there to get my bike. I had to slide down and crawl back and do all that. So it's a lot flatter than it appears on that first section. So if you fell there, she would have got tumbled up there and fallen and wouldn't have slid all the way down. That bike would have never been down where it was placed, where it was staged. I think that's all I tried to show.
Yeah, and you showed that fence too. There was a fence there.
Absolutely. There's a fence in the back, and he was saying in his narrative to Tyson that she could have gotten disorientated and gotten in the river. And that was a joke to listen to him say that.
Yeah, when you showed the depth of that river, I was like, wow.
I know. That's why I knew he was guilty from the very first day that I heard that, and I went there, and I knew he was full of BS because of the way it was all laid out. And right away, I knew he was guilty. There was no question at all. I didn't have any question about it. since day one, and that's what I think drew me to an increased passion to putting him where he is today, Chaffee County Detention Center.
Absolutely. Justice for Suzanne.
Yes.
And
Well,
you know what? I gotta say,
partial justice right now.
partial just right. We've got him arrested, and he's going to be questioned. So that is definitely a step in the right direction for Suzanne. But I have kind of an interesting question for you after watching your videos. The last one I watched was of the memorial that you found, left by the girls.
Yes.
And I'm just curious because I've never personally seen anything that has stated that they may have known anything or, anything other than just believing their dad. So is there something else that I'm not aware of that makes you think that?
Yeah. Well, there are some things that you have to look at when it comes to the girls. We don't know the full picture yet. Barry's in the jail. We need to find out more. But those girls never even came home from that so-called trip. Everything was very skeptic on their trip. They went on this trip for no reason. They drove to Idaho and turned around and came back. They said they called their dad and said, "Oh, we can't find our mom." And he said, "Oh, geez, thanks for the call. I'll call the neighbor and have her go look in the garage for a bike." It seems very staged, the girls' part as well. When they did come back, when the police found the bike that night about 6 p.m., I think, and Barry got home at 9, the girls never went home. Never. Oh, they're not going to go home and look for their mom. They're not going to find her mom's purse or, go through things and see what the state of her personal items were before she went missing or anything. Those girls went and hid and got a lawyer. Now, that might be okay. I mean, maybe they're not involved. Maybe they don't know exactly what happened. But those girls assisted in the cover-up of this murder for a long time. That I stand by. I never thought they were a part in the murder. And a lot of people have asked me that. If I thought, even the news reporters have asked me if I think the daughter, Mallory, may have murdered Suzanne.
Damn,
and I
really?
Said, yes, there's been a lot of talk about it. And I never opted into that theory at all. I don't think Mallory killed her mother. I think that those girls, God bless them, they're in a mess right now.
Yeah, they sure are.
But they know their dad. They've been living with dad for almost a year. They've been going on trips and vacations, and they're driving around with their dad, and I saw them behind pulling the bobcat. They've been helping him protect the bobcat. And all of those things that I saw is when I started to put the heat on the girls to get them to come up and say something. They've never said a word. Silence speaks 1,000 words, and those girls have spoken 1,000 words of silence to all of us. They know what their dad did, and by law, when you know who committed a murder in a felony FBI, CBI murder investigation, if you know who committed the murder, you're supposed to tell the authorities of this. That in itself is a felony, obstruction of justice. So I think the girls may get charged.
Well, maybe the girls might be witnesses.
Absolutely. I think the girls may have been the ones that cracked.
Could be.
We don't know.
This will be really interesting, Dan. Is it okay if I call you Dan or is it Daniel? I don't want to.
Either one's good, Dan.
Okay, because everybody's calling you Dan the Man, for real. Everyone's saying in chat, great job on the coverage. And a lot of people agree with you that the girls seem like they know something. So that's new to me. I had never really heard anything about the girls like that.
For their mom. Did you see the other two girls, the Mazzell girls?
No.
Their mom is missing. They were on Tyson's channel. The two girls, it's a contrast. It's a good example to illustrate why I feel this way. Those two girls are crying their eyes out. They're on Tyson's channel. They're looking for their mom. They're all over the place. They're social media, Facebook, everywhere. They're really looking for their mother.
Yeah.
The Morphew girls have not lifted one finger to help for a search. They have not gone on one social media begging for their mom. They have done nothing. The only thing they have done is gone to Mexico for a party. I had a couple of postings where they were at the beach, partying time, and they're not showing any grief for their mother. Now, I know everybody may grieve different ways, but the only way to grieve is to grieve, and they're not. So I
Yeah,
hope the girls will come
I guess
forward
my
now.
question is, Dan, do you know if the girls are in contact with Andy Mormon?
They're not. They've never contacted Andy. They
They've
avoided his
never. Oh,
contact.
I don't like
Yes.
that.
That's what makes me also further supports my point. They should have embraced Andy and gone on the search and call Andy and tell him, it'll be okay. The reason they can't talk to Andy is because they're going to get tripped up immediately in that conversation.
Yeah.
See, the girls are avoiding hard questions. Hard questions.
And this could be because of their dad. He could be, the major influence over.
Well, yeah, he probably
over
told
them.
them shut up and don't say a word.
Absolutely.
But they know stuff they're supposed to say. They should have got protection from the FBI and to turn their dad in. Now, maybe that's what's happening now. I hope so. But the girls will probably be protected now if they want to come forward and give a statement and tell the public what they know about the loss of their mother. We'd like to hear it.
Yeah. So when did the girls leave for this trip? Refresh my memory if you can.
Well, that's a little sketchy. According to them, they left Wednesday. A lot of people think it was more into Thursday. Okay, there are some theories that whether Suzanne was murdered on Thursday. The girls took off once they knew about this. They took off to create an alibi in Idaho. Barry set up an alibi here and buried the body and set up that at Mother's Day alibi and staging the bike. The girls had all by they come back on Sunday. Sunday, it's like a 7 or 8 hour drive, I think, from Idaho. So they were apparently on their way to Mother's Day. Why would they wait until Mother's Day was all over? Well, they're going to come home at 11 p.m. on Mother's Day?
Yeah, I always thought that was odd too.
Sure, it was odd. I mean,
She was all by herself on Mother's Day.
Oh, we're running late. What are you running late? About 8 o'clock? It seemed like that. And then all of a sudden, by the way, they say she's not there, so we're not going to stop at the house. See, I'd be there no matter what my dad told me. If my dad killed my mother, he'd be arrested. Okay?
Yeah.
Sometimes, and eventually that may be what's happened. We don't know where I said like that. In the press conference, they said there was a turning point in the third week of April. So it's only been a couple of weeks since they got the case from the police department.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they elected to go ahead today with this arrest.
Maybe one of the girls caved.
Yeah, somebody caved here in the pressure, and it was relentless. But one of the third charge there, I don't have it in front of me, but the third charge is where he tried to coerce or intimidate somebody.
Yeah, it was a public servant.
Yeah, what is that charge? They asked questions about it, and even the DA didn't have a good answer for it. But because that may be where they want to keep a secret. But maybe he tried to bribe somebody or talk somebody into doing something or something.
Yeah, we were just discussing that before I called you, and a couple people were saying maybe he, lied. Maybe it was just strictly him lying to an officer or somebody.
Yeah, but that charge is usually
like obstruction. Yeah, that's true.
There is the obstruction charge, which includes the lie. See, he lied about his GPS. One thing, though, this was the biggest key. Where was that GPS discrepancy? He said he went somewhere, and they got his GPS and said, well, yeah, but you deviated. You were off the road. He said, oh, yeah, but I had to fix that Bobcat, had a mechanical issue on the Bobcat. But he admitted that he lied to the GPS. I thought months ago that was enough to arrest him, and it was. And now that's, I think, what that charge is. The other one sounds like he recently tried to coerce somebody into some information to present the case differently or his guilt differently. I don't know yet. No details on the press.
Yeah, I'm excited for tomorrow morning.
You're not going to know anything in this case. I can tell already.
We're going to have to wait.
Yeah. The defense lawyer, they did say he lawyered up. He did not make a statement. He is maintaining his innocence, and he's sitting there now in Chaffee County Detention Facility under his lawyer's advice. He's not speaking. So we're going to see here, the official arraignment, but I don't think we're going to know anything until they find a body. But at some point in the case, the defense lawyer will get discovery, and that discovery will become partly public record.
Yes. So I would have to say on the main Colorado court website for Chaffee County, under cases of interest, I think this is going to be under there after his paperwork is filed. And
Yeah, a
that's
little bit
for you.
later today, or by tomorrow. Yeah, after
Yeah,
the hearing.
for sure
I
by
think it's
tomorrow.
10:45 in the morning, and we're gonna know more of that.
Yeah, are you gonna be able to attend that, or is that on Zoom?
I assume it'd be on Zoom.
They're not
I'm here at the
open yet.
courthouse now, but I tried to go inside. They won't let me in. They see
Oh.
me coming, but it's all sealed up. So a lot of us are outside here, but there's really nothing here to be seen. I'm going to do a little video out front of the detention facility, and that's about all. Right now, we do have to be patient as the discovery comes out into the courts, and we're going to find out what it is that they are holding him, what evidence they have.
Awesome. Hey, I'll let you go do that video, Dan, but thanks a lot for everything, for the footage and for doing this call, and keep me posted.
I will. We'll stay in touch.
All right, sounds
Thank you
good.
to all your viewers. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Have a good one.
Yeah, bye for now.
All right, bye. All right, so there's Dan the man with the scoop there straight from the Chaffee County Jail, and he sounds pretty excited that Barry Morphew is now behind bars. So we will be keeping in contact with Dan, and we will be on this press conference tomorrow morning, and we'll see if Barry's going to appear and what the deal is. So is there anything else that you guys want to talk about? Any questions? Anything? I think we've pretty much covered where we are now. Barry Morphew is spending the night in the county jail. The county blues for Barry Morphew. Imagine that. Just in time for Mother's Day. Good old Barry. Thank you to all my mods. Lisa discovers. So what's next? So what's next is tomorrow is the advisement hearing. They will decide if they're going to give him bond. It'll be discussed then. I don't think he'll get any bond. I don't know. We may not learn much. Like Dan said, it's the arrest affidavit is staying sealed, so we won't be able to see that yet. So that's pretty much it. Gretchen, yeah, I do, actually. I do. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you to my moderators and the members and new members who just joined today. Alexis says hearts for Dan. Go Alexis. I'm sure he loves that. And Tiny Dancer, yeah. I'll see you guys in the AM. No bond on first degree murder, Dana says. We'll see. All right. Well, thank you guys, and I will see you guys in the AM. Have a great evening, and thanks for tuning in today.